as to how we handle children and as to how people in that culture or those communities or what have you discipline their children, because you have a lot of what you see, like the supermarket moms who are tired of their kids screaming, so they just give in to whatever it is they want. Because that woman's response, who was at the register, of like, will you just like go away, was like, will you just give her what she wants so she'll stop throwing this tantrum? What's up, peoples? It's your bartenders, Mr. Z.
And your boy, Omega.
Now, there are some sad things known to man, but ain't too much sadder than the tears of a clown. We're gearing up for an emotional deep dive into the weaponization of tears by white women, the impact on communities or people of color, and share our own experiences of that weapon pointed at us. As every episode, we want to thank all of you for listening. We truly appreciate you listening to our hearts and minds on varied and difficult topics.
Special thank you goes out to our Patreon subscribers for their support of the show. Every little bit helps us reach our goals to invite more high-profile guests and create bonus content.
And if you want to join in our conversation outside of this cast, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at HaveADrinkCast, and make sure to use that hashtag HADcast.
Remember, this is always a conversation. If you don't agree, you want to voice your opinions, or even suggest a topic for an episode, feel free to join our Discord as well. The link will be in the description.
And please, if you like what we're doing here, share us with your friends, your family, your neighbors. Hey, compose a new instrumental for us to feature in a segment or two. I might even make a Hadcast rap. Or maybe not. Your referrals mean a lot to us, as that's how we gain more listeners. So,
thank you again.
And get prepared to sit,
think,
and have a drink.
Welcome to Have a Drink Podcast. Enjoy the episode.
We said peace. What's up, peoples, and welcome back to another episode of the Have a Drink Podcast, where we invite you to sit, think, and have a drink. We're your bartenders, Mr. Z.
And I'm your boy, Omega.
Hey.
If you guys can't tell, we got a new platform that we are working on, and Z is enjoying these sound effects.
I am. Yeah, they put a smile on your face because I'm positive that this topic today is going to wipe that right off.
Well, I ain't crying, so I'll be all right.
Well, there you go. Well, the people in our topics are definitely going to be crying as we talk a little bit more about something that is really important. We don't really address, but we kind of brush over in our society. We label them as Karens now, but what we've experienced to be the weaponization of the tears of white women.
Right.
This comes on the heels of a lot of situations that have, sparked up. Obviously, all the Karens that have popped up around, that like the Central Park, woman who called the police on a black man, saying that, it was a black man threatening her.
And she was choking the hell out of that dog.
Right.
Yeah.
And all he was trying to do was asking for her to put her dog on a leash, and that was it. Just trying to abide by the rules of society.
Right.
And, not just that, but more recently, the Victoria's Secret debacle, where we had another white woman, Karen, using those tears and weaponizing them against this black woman who was just trying to shop and was getting attacked. But we'll dive more into that in a little bit, or in a minute. But yeah, I mean, man, this conversation is so rich with history. I mean, when we talk about the weaponization of white women's tears, I mean, what comes to mind heavily is Emmett Till. The young man who was beaten and drowned and, all sorts of things for whistling at a white woman.
Allegedly. Well,
the story escalated to he sexually assaulted her, and everything expanded when it was, it started off as a whistle, and when she went home, she was upset, and she told her husband, and all the men in that community decided to rise up and go attack this young black man. And we see that all too common, and these are things that are not always publicized. Yeah, we have social media now, but man, when there wasn't this heavy traffic of social media and, the ease of sharing information, when there wasn't this, what did we do? Like, we still experience this stuff. I know I experienced it in school.
I experienced it too.
I experienced it in a couple situations. I've experienced it in school. I've experienced it not super recently, but with in the last 10 years, I've experienced it.
I experienced my first one as a kid, and I lost a friend for a long time because of it. So yeah. So I 100% get it. I 100% get it. It's horrible, man. I mean, and I hate to put it on just white women. I hate to do that, but that's just who the prevalent one is that is most dire to our safety.
Well, because, okay, so I was going through a lot of different videos and articles and whatnot. And there was something that I came across when talking about the comparison of, it was on the Breakfast Club, actually. Okay, so the video I wanted to share with you, like I said, was from earlier. I was listening to the Breakfast Club, and he shares this excerpt from an audiobook. I'll go ahead and let the audiobook speak for itself.
How do we solve white fragility? I don't know, but listen.
For centuries, Americans have lived with a strange contradictory myth. Black bodies are incredibly strong and can handle anything short of total destruction, while white bodies are weak and vulnerable, especially to black bodies. So it's the job of black bodies to care for white bodies, soothe them, and protect them, particularly from other black bodies. This myth has been reinforced by a secondary fantasy. Because white bodies are so vulnerable, the black body is not subservient to a white one, it must be destroyed. And because black bodies are nearly invulnerable, that destruction must be swift and ruthless. A common form of white fragility involves a strong and immediate defensive response whenever a white body is challenged on the subject of race and equality, or whenever the topic of race emerges. This has inspired a contorted form of white self-talk. We white people are incapable of soothing ourselves and feeling safe in the presence of black bodies. We are not just physically vulnerable. We are also emotionally helpless when we are around black bodies. White fragility is a reflexive, protective response. A way for the white body to avoid experiencing the pain of its historical trauma inflicted by other white bodies. Many white Americans need to be confronted firmly and compassionately on their white fragility. Much of that fragility is a trauma-driven lizard brain defensiveness that quickly fights, flees from, or freezes out all such caring confrontation. There is only one way through this stalemate. White Americans must accept, explore, and mend their centuries-old trauma around oppression and victimization. Whiteness does not equal fragility. That's a dodge created by white fragility itself. It's a way for white Americans to avoid the responsibility of soothing themselves, metabolizing their own historical and secondary trauma, accepting and moving through clean pain, and growing up.
Now, that was an excerpt from My Grandmother's Hands by Resman Menachem. Sorry if I totally messed up that name. And that was read off of the Breakfast Club. Charlemagne the God was the one who put that up.
Yep. And the reason why I was sharing that little excerpt was because not because something that I'm believing in, but it was something that it caught my attention because it brought forth this idea that is sorry, excuse me.
Try that again.
It brought forth this idea that was perpetuated through fairy tales. The happily ever after, the Prince Charming, the saving the damsel in distress. It's that innate response to those types of things, those types of narratives, those types of tropes that that the people who think that way have created. you know, and as a society, you know, society has created.
Right.
And so like so thinking of it from that standpoint of like a lot of the reason why we are, you know, why we're afraid, we as black men are afraid of white women's tears is because we very well could be the next Emmett Till, you know? And like, and I know, so this conversation, like, I know it sounds very heavy on race and whatnot, but it's very, we would be remiss if we did not address it alongside with what the culture of America has been, where the root of certain extremist views and thoughts, where they go, where they come from, and why as a society there are people like the woman in Victoria's Secret who feel like they can use that and to escape trouble, because not only that, but there was this trend. There's this trend that was going on TikTok. Yeah.
I was just thinking that when you started bringing it up. I was just about to pull it up right now. I swear I was.
But yeah, no, there's this trend on TikTok. Long story short, it's a bunch of women. Predominantly, the trend has been, I've only seen it predominantly done by white women, where it seems like you're harmlessly under the guise of showing your acting skills. But what they were doing was saying, show how convincing you can be, you know, and it's where they're starting off like crying, sobbing, tears, like showing how convincing they can be with those tears and that pain. And then seconds later, the audio that overlays is just like, show them nothing and whatever. And all of a sudden they change and they show how fast they can go from like crying to serious. And then they stare at the camera for a second before it cuts off. Like, and right before that happens, they give like a little smirk.
Bro, it's
and
frightening.
Like, it is frightening. Like I've seen so many like videos and reactions. There was a dude who actually, his video is the one that I saw, and his reaction to it, because he was just like, he's like, my last video got flagged, so I'm not going to say nothing, but like, and he explains and he goes on and he goes, so all I'm going to say is,
that's frightening, man. It's really
terrifying.
Like, I didn't think it was funny when I saw it. I legit was like, this is scary.
Oh yeah.
Like, I was honestly afraid. Like, I could not believe what I was looking at. I mean, these women were able to cry on cue and make it look like it was nothing.
Like it was nothing. And like, and to show like, and in that moment, I couldn't think of anything else. I'm sure you felt the same. I couldn't think of anything else but like, wow, she would get me killed.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
they would get me killed. Yeah, man. Like these are things that like, what was the narrative? What was the consensus that women would tell each other to do when they got stopped by the police? If you got stopped by the police, yeah, they cry, and you'll get out of a speeding ticket. You get out of a ticket. They'll feel sorry for you, and you'll get out of it. You know, and like this conversation, as we go, you're all going to hear and notice that there's going to be a heavy overlap between the black women's struggle with the weaponization of white tears.
This is a scary trend, bro.
It is terrifying, because it just shows, and it's going to empower more people who want to use that their weapon against more people of color,
100%,
and women.
Here is the white women fake crying trend. Now, this is nothing crazy. For those of you that are listening to us but not watching the video, you will see it is a white woman who is crying initially, and then when the music changes, she has a straight face, almost like a little smirk, like, yeah, I was just fooling around. Like, this is not real. But do you see how fast that was? Like, how fast was that transition?
That's extremely terrifying. That little smirk at the end. Like, if you could see the screen at this moment, like, there are tears coming down this woman's eyes.
That smirk, terrifying. And I paused it for a reason, because I really want you to get a good idea and a good look at the things that we try to explain to people, and they don't seem to get it. They don't get it. Now, not to say, like, it's not only white women that can get away with this. Most women can do this and get away with it, but not to the level of white women.
But not black women. So that's something that kept coming up, and we're going to have a larger conversation. Like I said earlier, we're going to have a larger conversation later when we bring back Erica and maybe another special guest. But yeah, just to really dive into this, because it's so formulaic to the white supremacy hierarchy, the idea that, you know, their princesses could get hurt, and, you know, they're the what is it, the battle cry, they're the alarm, you know, the siren.
Terrifying, bro. Seriously terrifying. It's very, like, I'm looking at this and I just makes my skin crawl. It makes my skin crawl. And I don't want to give anybody that type of power over me, but it's just the truth. It's like, it's very, very terrifying. Like, if I was in the room with a kid that was crying like this and it was just me, I would be nervous, because it's like, this kid can make up and say whatever they want. This woman right here can make up and say whatever she wanted, and nobody would believe me. And I hate that. I hate that.
Not a soul would believe you. I mean, well,
no, not the people that matter.
Yeah, I matter. I'd believe you.
Well, you know what I meant. Like, where it will count. You know
I know. No, I know. I know what you mean.
The people that know my heart would believe me, would understand me. But those that are out to get me, easy work. Easy work,
right? I don't want this to like seem like we're pointing the finger, we're vilifying, like, oh my God, white women, white people. Obviously, just in the sense of like, understand it's not all white women, but all white women hold this weapon. They hold this weapon. All women hold this weapon. But historically, where we've seen it the most happen, where it's gotten the most, pushback or pain, it has been from, white women towards black men and black women in communities like that. We'll take one for instance. We talk about the destruction and the bombing and the burning down of Tulsa, Black Wall Street, right? Mm-hmm. But did we ever really talk about how that started? Like what sparked that? Lo and behold, there's this story about this young black man who, he ended up dropping out of high school and ends up becoming a shoe shiner. And he would be a shoe shiner for all the wealthy white oil men. And he worked in front of this really nice building. He was always just shining them shoes. And every single day that he worked, week after week for months, he would go into this one building, ride this elevator all the way up to use the restroom up there. All the way up there and then ride back down. Well, in this elevator, there was this young woman, and she was the elevator operator, and she was in there with him riding up and down. And she's seen him. She's interacted with him every single day that he's ever come in there to use the restroom after he was on break from shoe shining. So this young man's name was Dick Rowland.
Was he black?
And yep, he was a young black man, Dick Rowland.
That was the first black man that I've ever heard with the name Dick.
Yep.
This is killing me. No pun intended. Continue.
Oof. One day, he walks into this building, goes all the way up. Last thing that's known is they hear this elevator operator, this blonde hair, blue-eyed white girl, scream at the top of her lungs, and Dick running from this building. And later on, he becomes accused of assaulting this young white woman. And not long after that, it escalates into, he raped her. And as this information is spreading, it's spreading through communities, it's spreading through towns, it's not spreading, and it's on newspapers. So, it's you're seeing the same level of incitement for certain things that we've seen within the recent, months and whatnot, surrounding like elections and stuff, and you see people get riled up and rallied up, and all you see in the newspaper is this black man attacks this fragile little white girl. And what do you think these good old boys are gonna do when they get riled up? They're not gonna care who it is. They just see, it in the newspaper, a Negro man assaults young blonde hair, blue eyed white woman, and it's over. They geared up, gunned up, and planed up and everything, and just didn't matter if they were in military uniforms. It didn't matter, if they were women. It didn't matter if they were children. They didn't care who it was, what it was. They burned it all down, broke things, stole, all because of this alleged assault. This man who walked in as Dick Rowland and walked out with his life forever changed, and like it's all too prevalent. Like I said, I've experienced it. I mean, I've experienced it at multiple levels. I remember you just saying earlier that you've experienced it, man. Like I remember in high school, it was the last 3 weeks of my freshman year. And like all throughout my freshman year, a lot of crazy stuff happened. I lost my best friend to suicide. My mom got diagnosed with cancer and given only a year to live. And like there was just a lot. I lost my first love of my life broke up with me. And just like I felt like everything was falling apart. Okay, well. Throughout this year, and as these things were happening, I had someone in my class who, like, she was there to listen. She was in my Chinese class, and my friends and I, we would all talk, and like she sat like behind me or near me, and we would always we would exchange, not homework, but we would like exchange, like practice stuff, like practicing our Chinese back and forth. Blonde hair, blue eyed girl. And I remember, there was when I would come to school, because my hair couldn't be, for the school I went to, it was a public school trying to act like a private school and dictate, the length of men's hair or the young men's hair. And so my mom, in order to combat that, in order for me to still have long hair, I could have cornrows. And so my mom would do it every single, every other day or something like that. Just whenever it would get fuzzy and sweat it out and everything, my mom would be right there. And I was always particular of like it took so long to get this way. I had to sit through a lot of pain. Don't touch my hair. Don't mess with it. Just like a black woman. Don't touch my hair. Like, and this girl would persist. Like she would do that, she would like poke me with her like crutch. There was all these things. We would exchange this kind of this sort of banter back and forth, but like I would ask her to stop, et cetera, et cetera. It's and like she would like hit me in the butt with her stuff. She would like, yeah. And like it was just like I could tell hindsight 2020, like, hindsight is 2020. This girl liked me at that time. And I never reciprocated the feelings because I didn't know, because I was young and dumb. But within that time, I was also responding back to her. I was like, please stop touching me. Like, please stop. Like, I got so upset. Like, I was just like, if you are not going to listen to me, like why, and my boundaries, why would I listen to you and listen to your boundaries? So I would just, with my fingertips, it wasn't like I like swatted her on the butt and grabbed her butt. It was just like whip real quick with my fingertips. Just like, leave me alone. Like, will you stop it? And like, because that was the reaction that she was getting, like I said, hindsight, like it made her do it more. And so it became this back and forth thing. And it wasn't until a friend of hers saw our exchange and brought it up to her and like brought it to the school, ended up getting me expelled from the school. Yep. The whole night. And like, it was so strange because I remember her sitting there. It was like, I was watching her outside the courtroom, and like, she had nothing on her face. She was like blank everything. The moment we got into the courthouse, she was just like tears and like crying. And I was like, what is going on? But at the same time, I wasn't like, oh my God, I was very much, like in a remorseful stage. Cause I mean, I knew the severity, but so did my mom, and I don't think we've had this conversation, but my mom looks like a white woman. Like, so it's not like a black woman talking about, talking to me and understanding and knowing, going through all of this. Like my mom knew what the secrets and tips and tricks were that were going on too. Like she like was a little old white woman.
Your mom is white.
She looks white.
She's white passing.
White passing. Yep.
But what is she?
she says she's high yellow, but yeah.
So your mom is black, but she's very white passing.
No, my mom isn't mixed with black. So my mom is Lebanese, Syrian, and Chinese.
Oh, okay. Never heard anybody that wasn't black say high yellow, but that was impressive. But continue.
Right, but my mom grew up around
black people,
black folk.
Yeah. All right, continue. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
just context.
It's okay. And my mom having DID, one of her personalities is a black woman.
Got it.
Yeah. It's very frustrating.
Can you explain what DID is? Because you just said that.
So DID is dissociative identity disorder, which is like multiple personalities. Yeah. So dissociation. So she had another personality of hers who identified as a black woman. Okay. And it was really difficult to kind of explain to her. I was like, how that can be perceived as offensive, even though that's her own personality. Like it was like that separate personality's identity. It just wasn't real.
Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no. So just kind of going through all of that, watching that experience, just watching the weaponization, and it was just really interesting to see. I couldn't really tell all of my story of what happened because I got caught off guard. I had been going through this entire year with this exchange with this young woman, and then all of a sudden, like that, everything changes for me. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, yeah, I did do those things. And they said, why? And I'm like, in that moment, I'm so like adrenalined up. You have a police officer sitting in the thing with you. I don't get called to the office often for being for being in trouble. So like that wasn't a thing that was consistent for me. So I was just in this situation. And me being me, I was like, I'm just going to tell the truth. Why am I going to lie? Why am I going to hide actions? Why am I going to hide,
right.
myself, etc. Anyway, but like I was also like on adrenaline. So I'm like, what is going on? I don't know why I did it. And like, I had to have time to process everything that had happened, in order for me to actually be like, oh, well, this is what our exchange was. But after that moment, no one cared. No one cared. No one cared to know what the truth was. And so like every step of the way, I was gaslighted through my experience of saying, well, you didn't report it in the beginning and you didn't report anything, she did. And it was like, is that what like we're held to then in those moments?
All they because she was your black hand touching her white body.
Exactly. And her parents were the ones that were most furious. I saw it in her dad's face and her dad's eyes, just like of the anger. And I was like, nothing I did to your daughter was out of like malice, if anything, it was inappropriate. Yeah. But the exchange was what it was.
Most high school interactions between male and female are inappropriate.
Right.
And a lot of people, especially parents, forget that because they just want to protect their child. But they forget that most high school interactions are inappropriate only because they are so filled with they're so full of hormones that are going all over the place that they're trying to figure this out. And so it's like, because it's crazy. What you're saying is the stuff that we did in high school that I remember. Girls smacking boys' butts, boys smacking girls' butts, girls flirting with boys and doing inappropriate things, guys picking them up and putting them in trash cans or doing other things like that, just being funny and being silly. Like there were so many inappropriate interactions through middle school and high school. It's almost commonplace. So to see that happen to you is like that girl had it out for you because she wanted to save face for herself.
But yeah, so I mean that's an experience that I've had personally with it. And
okay,
it's a terrifying thing to go through. Go ahead.
All right. No names, no nothing. But I was young. I was not even in middle school, and I might have been like late elementary, early middle, more so, or early middle school. And the reason I'm setting that up is because I need you to understand that this person was a little bit older than me. This young lady was about a year or two older than me. We were best friends. I was very, very close with the family. I used to spend the night at the house and everything. We were together for many, many years. When I say together, we were friends. Like her parents pretty much had a hand in raising me. Her parents are the reason why I even was involved with martial arts and the whole nine. Like that's how deep this runs. So that's how long we've been friends and been together for. Well, long story short, She was pretty active. She was ahead of my time. And, you know, what she wanted, I would do, or what she would tell me to do or have me do, I would do. Why? Because I guess in a sense I kind of liked her, I think, but it was more so just, you know, she was older, she was my friend, so we just did stuff to do stuff. And if we were by ourselves, then we were just by ourselves type of thing, you know. She was more she kind of was my first sexual interaction. Like, we didn't have sex or anything like that, but she was my first sexual interaction. Come to find out, I remember being at home one day, and her parents called my mom, and were angry because they found out that we had that interaction. Now, I say this because she was touching me, doing this stuff to me. Like, I guess we kissed a few times before. Like, she was more so like the person that gave me like my first actual like real kind of kiss type deal. So I was in middle school already. She was the one that kissed me already. But then she touched me and learned about those things. And her parent pretty much called and told my mom, you know, like, this is done. You are not allowed over here. We're never talking to you guys again. You raped my daughter. Like, that's statutory rape. You raped my kid and stuff like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's what they were saying to me as a child, and I didn't understand it. My mom was angry. She stuck up for me, but then that was it. Cut and dry, boom, done. Relationship over. I was confused and heartbroken because I was like, this is a person that I grew up with for like 5-6 years. Like, what is going on? Like, what happened? Like, I don't understand. But I was the automatic rapist. And I'm like, how am I a rapist? This girl's older than me. She should know better than me, you know? But it was very hurtful because it was like, that was the first time I'd ever been blamed for something so heinous. And I had no idea about what was going on, you know? Not saying that I was completely blameless and I don't even want to call myself a victim because I don't like that thought process. But it was just like I was taken advantage of. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, we watched and seen grown things, so we thought we could do grown things. And we were kids who shouldn't have been doing those things. But it's like, I wasn't initiating it because why? I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I'm following what she was doing. So that was kind of where I was at with that. So it was just kind of weird that was what it was, you know? And yeah, man, like that's crazy. And the fact that she was able to push that on me to cover herself, she was able to push that on me. And that made me the bad guy. I don't know if she got off scot-free. I don't know if anything happened to her. All I know is I was cut off. I was broken hearted. For not just a week or 2 weeks, a month, like for years I was brokenhearted because I held that family in such high regard. They were there for me through a lot. So I was so broken with that. And that kind of messed up my mentality and my insight, the way I viewed relationships and women. Like, for me, honestly, I was afraid of white women for a long time. I don't like white girls. And not because I don't find them attractive. It's just that I don't find what they could do to me okay. Like, there are some very attractive white women out there, but I was afraid of what could happen to me because of that early interaction that I had as a child. I was like, if I dated this white girl, she could flip on me at any time, and then I could be dead, or I could be in jail, or I could have something happen to me. Nah, I'm good. I'll just go with somebody else. And after a while, it was just that they just weren't as attracted to me. I found other women more attractive because I was just so afraid of what could happen to me. You know, I was afraid of what they could do to my young black body because of their words and the way that they could demonize me. So that really messed me up.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's terrifying. And again, like, the reason we bring this topic up, reason why we're talking about this hard topic is because as we start looking at those who we're deeming as Karens or individuals like the woman in Victoria's Secret who assaulted this black woman, you know, and then but didn't know that, you know, she was recording, and the moment she realized that she was recording, she flipped the script and goes into this whole what do you call that? I know tantrum.
She had a full-on tantrum, and you clearly hear her say, "Stop recording me. Don't record me." So she was okay with her actions until she realized that she was being recorded. And then she did not want to be recorded because why? She did not want her job. She didn't want to lose her job. She didn't want to lose her home. She didn't want to lose anything. She started thinking about what she was going to lose, and she was having an issue with it. So she had this whole big blowout. Now, I want to actually show this video.
It's you. Now you are. Oh my God! Do you see this? Oh my God! I never thought nothing like this would happen to me. She just tried to run and hit me, and now she. Did you see her? You saw her, right? They all saw her. Oh my God! You should have thought about that before you did what you did. Oh my God! This shit don't even feel real. Y'all had to get security. She charged me. If I wouldn't have ducked, she would. Oh no, you just wanted security for me, right? I want security for you now. No, don't cry. No. I want you to call security. Thank you. I just came to get my free panty. You know how you get the coupon in the mail? And I got to pick up my Converse boots from Nordstrom. I don't know why this is happening to me. Don't charge me. Oh, you want to? Oh, yeah, she... No, why don't she walk away from me? No, I was here. No. We're not doing this. I'm sorry. You keep lying saying I'm threatening you, so I'm recording to protect myself. Can you please stop recording?
Okay. There are so many things to address within this video. Like, let's talk about the other white women in the background standing around not doing a damn thing.
Not
let's
just
talk
white
about
women, just the women, period.
No. There were just white women standing there that came to her aid. So there's a video later that you see where there's another white woman who pops in on the scene as in that little escalation that we saw coming up. There was a white woman who came up to her aid and was talking to her. And she was trying to explain, and then she turned around and was like, that. "No, you should leave her alone." And the woman filming, the black woman filming, she was like, like, we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna do that. No, you're not gonna go stand. You weren't even here for the situation. You can't talk. Like, this woman tried to attack me. But like, let's point out the fact that the only women that actually came to her aid, to the black woman's aid with the phone, were other black women. That the first black woman that walks by the screen, she's gonna go get security. Employee she goes and she's physically separating the young mental breakdown that was happening right before us. It was really just so telling, because the women that were standing there at the cash register, they decided to chime in. The white woman on the floor screaming and crying and asking for help. And she's like, why don't you just leave her alone? Like, hold up. You just sat here and watched her attack me. You watched her do all these things and then start throwing this tantrum.
And you're going to tell me to stop recording?
Yeah. Like, this is about to save my life. Like, the whole time she's recording in disbelief.
Right. And I mean, you do hear the employee ask her, well, can you stop recording? She's like, no, I'm not going to stop recording. This is to save my life. No, this is to protect me. I'm not going to stop recording. And I'm also looking at how this young lady is really, really playing it up big time. I'm trying to see, are there even really tears in her face? Because the way she is poking at her eyes and trying to draw out those tears, it's like she's just trying to have this reaction. She's having a knee-jerk reaction. And the fact that at first, when I very first watched this, I'm not going to lie to you, I really thought this was a mental person, a person with mental issues.
100%. But then you watch
a person with special needs. I really thought she was a person with special needs.
Did you see the flip script when she was laying on the ground? When she goes from crying to just like, you just see her in full anger, getting up and getting ready to go attack.
Because nobody came to her aid the way she wanted it. She went from crying, I need help, to let me go a step further and pass out. Who passes out like that? Who lets themselves down so nicely and
Right.
lays down?
I've never seen someone pass out so gracefully. I've actually watched somebody pass out as they were about to say, or as they said to us, "I'm gonna pass out." And then you just see them collapse, and you're just like, and you have to catch them. Like, this is not a game. This is not something you can just,
Yes. Lay down on the ground, pretend like you're dead. And then when nobody comes to your aid or helps you or says anything to defend you, then you want to start convulsing and shaking while you're yelling at people. You are shaking your legs and you are like seizing up because you're so angry and you want that attention. It's ridiculous, man. And this is from a white woman to a black woman. Could you imagine if that was a black man? Could you imagine if that was any man of color at all?
Dead.
That would have been gone.
Dead.
Nobody's listening
Gone.
to him. Nobody's listening to him. And I'm sorry. I hate that this happened to a black woman, an African woman at that, because this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. She's like, all I'm trying to do is get this. And this woman over here is having an issue with me. But nobody wants to help. Nobody wants to help me. Everybody wants to come to her aid and put it on me. Tell me to stop recording. Tell me to leave the store. Tell me to move away from her. Why do I got to move away from her? She needs to move away from me. Why are you moving me? I am not the one having the issue. She is the one having the issue. Right. These people are standing in line and they watch this whole thing play out. And they still want to give it to that woman to be like, yo, why don't you get away from her? But I bet you this, money. I got money on this. If that black woman was the one that was having that tantrum, was feeling that some type of way, then all they would be like is just another angry black woman showing out, showing off, trying to get attention. And all they would do is they would call not mall security, they would call the PD to come and get her. But what she asked for was, get the police here. Call the police. Get them here. Oh, the police can't do anything all of a sudden. Only mall security. Mall security ain't going to do nothing. They can't do nothing. And when mall security can't handle it, they call the PD anyways. So why would you call the little man and get to the big man? But the big man don't want to do nothing. They don't want to protect black women. And that's terrible.
100%.
100%. I just got angry because I finally said it again. But
No, you should be angry. This shit makes me angry too. Because, that's why I said there's going to be a larger conversation when we have Erica and another special guest on, just so that we could really dive deeper into this, because there's a larger thing at play when it came to feminism, as a little teaser to that episode, but surrounding feminism and the feminist movement as it started with black women and as it was adopted by white women in order to become the face of, and they can twist it in a way that they want so that they can be the head of this movement, so that it can be used for so it can be used to further, enact supremacy over black women, black men, etc.
Isn't that crazy because of what you just said right now? I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just want to make sure I catch on to that right away. Who benefited most from the affirmative action?
White women.
But nobody talks about that.
Right.
They just want to talk about us getting somewhere and we're not qualified enough. Right. They just want to meet their black or their colored quota from the way people say it. Nah, man, that's not it.
Call back to Kelly's eposode of where she was talking about this disparities between wages, even, when she posed the question of who makes more, a black man or a white woman?
That hurt my heart, man.
It was the exact same. They got the exact same pay, but who gets more between a black man and a black woman? A black man, And so again, a little teaser to that future episode. But yeah, I was gonna say what you saw there, though. Also, the response from the people, the surrounding bystanders, their different responses were indicative of the larger issue at hand as to how we handle children, and as to how people in that culture or those communities or what have you discipline their children, because you have a lot of what you see, like the supermarket moms who are tired of their kids screaming, so they just give in to whatever it is they want. Because that woman's response, who was at the register, of like, will you just go away, was like, will you just give her what she wants so she'll stop throwing this tantrum?
Thank you.
And that right there, bro, I could even tell you a small little story of just another person who decide to use white tears, but also like it was indicative of like their the way they were raised and what they were exposed to. That's why I'm a firm believer. That's why I said this, and I said it jokingly at one time, but like say no early and say no often. Not for the sense of like putting them down, putting your kids down and like taking away opportunities, but so that they know how to deal with boundaries, they know how to deal with rejection, they know how to respond when confronted with these situations, because it is apparent when they don't get that, and their response to someone telling them no, I'm not interested in you, no, I don't want to be in something with you, no, thank you.
It looks like that.
They take it. It looks exactly like that. They become, this completely infantile person. Just like they just devolve into this state of like, I'm gonna throw a tantrum. I'm gonna destroy. I'm gonna set things on fire so you'll pay attention to me and you'll know that like I'm upset, and I'm gonna use what my status is in order to get you to get exact like and I even saw this young blonde hair, blue eyed woman, and it's important because I mean it's within the flavor of the episode of just like this was another experience that I had as an adult, and hear her flip the script, to go from someone who I considered a friend, to watch them flip the script and immediately go straight to, after they've heard no and they're throwing their whole thing, then be like, oh, that's why black people aren't nothing. That's why da 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 da. And like you get to really see what is underneath, and and to say, I'm going to get, and they're going to say, I was this, I was that, I was a third, I was raped, I was this. Like, there was a situation at work where there was someone who, decided to report at the job of like, oh, he did this, that, and the third to me. And I looked at everybody and I was just like, well, first of all, can we look at the cameras? Second of all, I was like, I know this person. I was like, let's, and the way that they had posed it was in order to get my attention, in order to get me in trouble, in order to hurt me in some way, because they couldn't affect me as much as I affect them by saying no. They decided to lash out in harmful ways. But thankfully, by the grace of, those around me, and like, I mean, fuck it, like a camera, like, bro, like, I mean, a camera saves your life nowadays. Of just being like, none of that transpired. Let's start there. So like,
100%.
So yeah, so just to kind of see this stuff in action, that right there was so indicative of the way that she was raised, the way that we are raising, that some of us in society are raising our kids. Because shit, homie, don't play that. I say no. Like I'll say no with a smile. Like it's just
right,
because I'm like no, and like, but like, and it's not like I'm just being mean for the fuck of it. Like I'll do it when it's like seriously something that I'm like I literally set up the parameters for you to be like, if you do this or if you don't do that, you will get this. But the fact that they, like, you fucked all of that up together, it's like, right. No, you don't get to go and act out and then think that that's going to be rewarded. That's not something that gets rewarded. No, no.
100%.
Like, and to watch, because like I remember the real first experiences of them hearing that, of just being like, no, and then watching them go, all right, and then just seeing the sadness of like, you can be sad. Ain't gonna change nothing. Like,
you'll get over it.
You'll get over it. It'll be okay. Like,
100%.
This is just understanding consequences. This is understanding boundaries. You cross the boundary, you get a consequences. You get a consequence. Consequences can be good. Consequences can be bad. You just happen to be on a bad consequence at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as we prepare and get ready for that next deeper dive,
mm-hmm.
I think it's really important to understand that this is something that is also weaponized from non-Black people of color,
exactly.
women of color. That's like it's weaponized there, but that's also just because of society, you know. Yeah, there's so much information that I can't wait to share on that next episode. Yeah, there's a lot I came across, you know, Oprah Winfrey Network, the OWN Network. I give 100% out to them because it's amazing over at that network in order to be able to, like, the kinds of topics and things that they deal with. It's, whew. Anyway, question for the Discord. How did this episode make you feel? How did it make you feel listening to it? How did it make you feel watching it? How did it make you feel engaging with it? I'm really curious. I mean, I always hope not to anger people, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't be speaking honestly if, you know, if I was making sure 100% of the time I wasn't angering people, you know, because I want there to be authenticity to what we're saying. So I'm curious, how did it make you feel? Did it open your eyes to something that you didn't realize that you had within yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or something that you've seen with others? You know, with the understanding that not everyone's the same. Not everyone in these groups, you know, as we talk about white women, are all the same. Just like we try to say, you know, we try to explain that not all black people are the same, or we try to explain that not all Latinx people are the same, not all Asian people are the same, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there is some weight to this topic. And like I said in the beginning, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about this, as it is such a fundamental part of what we know as the United States. It's a fundamental part of how people of color are treated based off of these experiences. You know, so what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What's your heart saying? What's your mind saying?
Man, sorry. Such a heavy topic. It brought up a lot of different feelings and emotions right now. It even made me feel like the first time I was, like I talked before about the first time I was called a nigger in second grade. Like, it brought that up because that was my first negative interaction with a white woman, with a white female. So think about that. Like, in second grade, my first negative interaction with a white female was I was being called a nigger by one. A few years later, then I am accused of raping one, or statutory rape by one.
Right.
Which is scary, you know. Like, I don't remember anybody else from from first grade or second grade if they weren't a teacher. But I remember this one young lady who called me that. First and last name.
You know what's ridiculous? How many black people have stories exactly like that? You know, like, I don't remember first and second grade, but I do remember being told, you know, my daddy used to own your daddies.
Yeah. Wow.
By a group of white girls.
Like, that's crazy. Like, that's just it, you know. And I'm sure she's probably not even like that now, but it's just the fact that happened. And the fact that she's able to live her life and never, ever think about that again and not care. So just think, like, if she could have accused me of something and lived her life and been just A-okay fine, nothing ever happened to her, but my life is completely ruined because she was able to cry white tears and get away with it.
Emmett Till would have been just a year older than Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Just in parallel to what you had just said, the woman who accused him and then came out later saying that she had lied about the interaction.
On her deathbed. She waited until she was on her deathbed to do that.
Yeah. While she was on her deathbed. She was alive and well, kicking for all those years.
Mm-hmm.
Still able to live her life.
But you know what's crazy?
Free.
The thing I do have to say, though, and it may get mixed reactions, but Emmett Till served his purpose. And as morbid and as terrible as that may sound, Emmett Till served his purpose. And let me explain. If that did not happen to Emmett Till, we would not have the civil rights movement the way we did. Because when they showed that picture and the strength of his mother to post that picture in the newspaper of how her son looked in that casket, the world never would have truly seen the heinous activities that people did to our bodies.
Right.
And because of that picture, that moment in time, that's what catapulted the civil rights movement.
It's crazy.
Right? Like, both of these, it's crazy. Both of these women, the one that called me the name, and then the woman that said what she said about me when I was a kid, They're both in the medical field.
Wow.
So their thing is they have a impact over people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's crazy? I'm not even mad. I don't hold grudges about it. Even though I could and or probably should, I don't. Because why? If I didn't go through those things then, I wouldn't be who I am and where I am now. So I have to go through these things to be who I am. To be where I am. And that's the way I look at things. Do I like that it happened to me? No. Would I change it? No.
No?
Because if I did, I wouldn't be who I am and where I am today.
True.
Because I wouldn't have those moments that would give me, the experiences that will give me the knowledge and the mental fortitude and the awareness that I have today. And that's the kind of person that I am. Even though I may have made some very terrible mistakes throughout my life, things that have hurt others, that have hurt myself and done things, would I change them? No, because they made me who I am.
No regrets.
Nope. And I'm a deeply flawed individual, but I'm real. And I try to be better every day.
Same.
Thank you to our Patreon. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for all of your support and patronage over this time. Please like, share, subscribe, and push these out. And let's try to build up our followers. We love where we are right now, but we know we can reach a lot more people. And the only way we'll be able to do that is by you guys sharing these episodes and commenting and talking to us, okay? So please continue that. And thank you so much for all of your patronage over these last year. All right?
And if you want to continue in this conversation outside of here, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at Have a Drinkcast. And make sure to use the hashtag HADcast. That way we can see whatever it is you post. I know I usually throw something in here to see that we want to post that it involved a topic that we were talking about, but I'm tired of looking at these weaponized tears. So I mean, let's show hashtag us on something that you love, the things that you love, that you're getting out of life. You know, some things that you used to cope with hard moments and times and struggles like these, because like we always say, we understand that having these kinds of conversations are hard because it brings up a lot of emotions. It brings up a lot of things where we have to take a look at ourselves with a magnifying glass and a mirror and really see and be honest with what's going on. And though that's scary and it's hard and we get it, that's why we always work with firm but compassionate energy.
And before we cut out, I do want to say peace, love, light, and support to the Cuban community out there that are really going through things right now. Man, I just hope things can change. And if you guys don't know, look it up, research about what's going on in Cuba right now, because they're humans and they should not be going through this. Absolutely. And I stand with the Cubans. So that's all I'm going to say.
Same.
All right. You ready? It's about that time.
It's about that time. All right, raise your glasses, raise your glasses.
Raising my second drink.
All right, kings, queens, and royals in between. We want to thank y'all again for joining us on another successful episode of the Have a Drink podcast, where we invite y'all back to sit, think, and have a drink. That's been us. Peace.